After a 4-year absence, Reading returned to the First Division stage at Pride Park. Derby down from the Premiership with a host of big names, and one of them, Rob Lee, beat Phil Whitehead for the opening goal. The Royals had survived for an hour, but John Gregory's team soon struck again. Malcolm Christie turned John Mackey and then teed up Fabrizio Ravanelli. The Silver Fox celebrated with his manager. Derby was strongly fancied to bounce straight back to the Premiership, and when Christie hit number 3, perhaps they seemed to be on their way. But how the Rams' season would fall apart while the Royals rose to the challenge of Division 1. Reading's first home match brought Sheffield Wednesday to the Medeski. Terry Yora's team had only avoided relegation the season before by a point, but in Gerald Seaborn they had a class act. He brushed past a couple of challenges before beating Whitehead. And it wasn't to be the only time in this season that Seaborn would unhinge the Royals. At half-time, Alan Pardew sent on Sammy Igoe, and it paid off. Igoe to Graham Murty, he found Andy Hughes, and the centre was dispatched in typical style by Jamie Curitan. The poacher who scored that final goal at Brentford the previous season had opened Reading's account. To the delight of the Royals fans, the same players produced the match winner. Igoe had fed Murty into Hughes. The centre would find Curitan. 2-1, and Reading had their first victory of the campaign. The Royals' second home match of the week attracted 14,700 plus spectators. Sammy Igoe's display against Wednesday earned him a start on Saturday. And the loyal Royals soon had something to celebrate. Callum Devonport handled the corner, a penalty. And so Curitan stepped forward to beat Morton Hildegard for his third of the season. But Gary McAllister's team fought back, and from Youssef Safri's 74th minute free kick, Davenport more than made amends for his early error. With 10 minutes remaining, the Sky Blues worked another opening. Lee Hughes, about to move to the Hawthorns for £2.5 million, chested down for Jay Boothroyd to beat Phil Whitehead. A week later, Reading were at the Walkers Stadium. Leicester determined to take a direct route back to the Premiership. Brian Deane hooked the opening goal. It all went wrong for the Royals in the first 5 minutes. This time Paul Dickoff was chasing the flick, and John Mackey adjudged to have fouled him. Dickoff made it 2-0. Midway through the half, referee David Ellery levelled up the penalty count. Nicky Forster was tripped by Andy Impey, and Curitan was on hand to supply the finish. The midweek arrival of Burnley saw Marcus Hahnemann take over in the Reading goal. At the other end, a whole host of chances as the Royals rolled forward. The only surprise was that it took 55 minutes to produce a goal. It was made by John Solarco, twisting defender Lee Briscoe this way and that, before his centre found Curitan. Game number 5, goal number 5 for Curitan. Through the campaign, the Royals were swift to turn defence into attack. They certainly did here. Curitan broke from his own half, a nicely weighted pass for Martin Butler, and when the defender slipped, Butler had his first of a season which would prove to be difficult. In the final minute, Hahnemann cleared, One touch from Curitan and he set the seal on a very good night.
He does that in training a lot. You know, we call it the dipper. He lets it come right down and gets a good connection. And it was a fantastic goal and rounded off a great night. So those fans who went home early, you should have stayed. You should have stayed.
Reading finished August at the Bescott Stadium. Their victory was sealed late in the day, 79 minutes on the clock when Andy Hughes raced from his own half. John Solarco took it on before Hughes finished the move, and his celebrations became a feature of the season. Colin Lee's team were reduced to 10 men when Martinez was flashed a second yellow card. Hughes had more celebrating to do. Again, Solarco was the provider. In the final minute, the Royals finished the month in style.
Phil Parkinson made his final league appearance as a substitute at Millmore. Nicky Forster was still chasing his first league goal of the season. He went close, rattling the woodwork. At the other end, Matthew Upson came on as a late substitute after signing on loan from Arsenal. But it was John Mackey who saved the day for the Royals, heading high to hang on to a point. Reading were unbeaten in 4. From their first 7 matches, Reading had 10 points, 3 wins and a draw. Portsmouth had already opened up a significant lead. They were still unbeaten. These have been traumatic times for Wimbledon. The Dons arrived after Reading had been knocked out of the League Cup at Cambridge. Both goalkeepers distinguished themselves. Reading had their chances. Jamie Curitan looked a certainty to score, but it wasn't to be Reading's day. Substitute Tony Rougier had a valid penalty claim dismissed. And the Royals' frustration was complete in the final minute. Joel McAnuff hit the game's only goal to take the points. The Canaries had not only Kingsley on the back foot, but Nigel Worthington's team produced one of the most effective displays seen at the Medeski. Alan Pardew had reorganised his defence, but they were 2 down in 5 minutes. Ewan Roberts set up Paul McVeigh for the first. A couple of minutes later, Norwich were 2 up. McVeigh was again involved, feeding Phil Mulrine. He got away from John Solarco and hit an excellent goal. To make things even tougher, Matthew Upson on his full home debut, and here John Mackey were both cautioned early on. Further forward, Reading was struggling to score. This was the 4th successive league game without a goal.
We need to get better in the last third, whether that's our strikers need to be better or our final pass needs to be better. But certainly our approach play has been pretty good, but in that last third we've lost the cutting edge.
Any hopes of a comeback were dashed before half-time. A red card for Mackey. If Reading needed a lift, what better tonic than to win in front of 25,000 spectators at Molineux? Andy Hughes produced a special goal. And of course he had a celebration for the occasion. For the visit of Stoke, Tony Rougier started up front alongside Curitan. The Trinidadian striker didn't produce the goals his supporters hoped for, but when he did hit the target, the relief reverberated around the stadium. Stoke, though, ruined Rougier's day. They were level before the break. Jurgen van Derzen's shot hit A.D. Williams to leave Marcus Hahnemann no chance. Throughout this season, the Royals never sat back content with a share of the spoils. They chased victories, and Andy Hughes was only denied by some goal line defending.
Grimsby just couldn't cope with the raiding Royals. Andy Hughes raced in to open the scoring at Blundell Park. Nicky Forster, now leading the line for the Royals, had the poise and pace to notch the second. And the third, well, bizarre goal of the season. Grimsby's Alan Pardew beat his own keeper from all of 35 yards. It had been 3 weeks since Reading's last home match. The chairman's first guests in the month of October came from Ipswich. George Burley had just departed, while 19,000 plus made it Reading's biggest home attendance so far. Ricky Newman's free kick had keeper Andy Marshall fumbling, and Nicky Forster accepted the opportunity. Before half-time, the Royals were 2 up. Aidy Williams' pass was perfect for Forster, and his finish was too good for Marshall. Well, the Medeski witnessed some excellent goals this season, and few were better than Darren Ambrose's free kick. He gave Marcus Hanneman no chance. But the Tractor boys soon lost one of their boys. Pablo Cunago dismissed after tangling with Williams, and the Royals wrapped up the victory. It was James Harper's smart pass which gave Forster the chance to claim his first hat-trick of the season.
Yeah, I think that's my best collection of goals as a hat-trick before. I scored 3 hat-tricks, but that one by far, the range of goals was my best I've done. So yeah, very pleased, very happy.
He's making up for lost time as far as I'm concerned. He's a terrific player and a major reason we went up last year, so I'm chuffed for him. He's such a nice lad and well pleased with his goals.
A week later, Reading travelled to Preston, but from Eddie Lewis's centre, Richard Cresswell beat Marcus Hanneman, and that was the only goal. After hitting 3 in his previous match at the Madstad, Nicky Forster looked set to demolish Bradford. He ran his markers ragged, but just couldn't finish. Manager Alan Pardew was full of praise for Forster's industry and ability.
He was unbelievable tonight. I can't believe he ain't scored. He can't believe he ain't scored. But the last 3 games, he's just been awesome. And, you know, you just can't deal with him when he's in that sort of form.
It was one-way traffic all night, and in the second half, Bradford's defenders finally stopped Forster. But it cost them a penalty. The striker took it himself, but more frustration as keeper Steve Banks produced yet another save. With 20 minutes remaining, Graham Murty and substitute Martin Butler combined to set up Nicky Shorey. He was to finish at the second attempt, and it was the fullback's first league goal.
We needed a goal at the end there. We had a few chances and we'd missed them early on, and I was just delighted that we got the result in the end. It didn't really matter who scored, but to get my first goal was something else, especially at home in front of the Reading fans. Yeah.
The Royals finished October in 10th with 23 points from 15 matches. 5 wins out of 6 had seen Watford climb to 4th. Mark McGee's Millwall went close to promotion in the previous season. This time around, the Lions failed to reproduce their best. The Royals were beginning a productive month, and they were given a helping hand as keeper Tony Warner made a complete hash of James Harper's centre. This was Forster's 5th goal of the season. Warner was having one of those days. Even his manager had a better touch. Forster produced another live wire display, almost embarrassing the keeper once again. Then, from a Hughes centre, Forster's header drew a fingertip save. In the final minute, Reading put the issue beyond doubt. Hughes swept the ball home, and he was off again. The reigning manager had beaten a former boss. Reading were on a roll as they made the trip to Kent. Alan Pardew presided over their 3rd victory in a row. From Forster's centre, Tony Rougier converted his 2nd of the season, to the delight of the travelling fans. For the visit of Watford, Martin Butler and Jamie Curitan were restored as the Reading strike force. They almost combined early on. It was an afternoon when Reading rode their luck and Marcus Hahnemann produced his best. A double save to deny Alan Nielsen. The Royals keeper was beaten, but the ball hit James Harper's hand and the referee blew immediately, denying Watford a goal. And from Neil Cox's penalty, Hahnemann was superb. The home fans in the 17,500 crowd showed their approval. Ray Lewington's team then had the ball in the net again. This time Nielsen was offside. The Royals had survived some scares and there was a slice of good fortune about the decisive goal. Kevin Watson's long-range effort took a notable deflection. The midfield player's only goal of the season, a match winner. Upson took another blow on his cut head, but the Royals had vital points.
We're pleased with that. That's a big win for us because they're a good side and they'd probably give us our biggest test today, most certainly here at the Medeski anyway. So we're pleased that we've come out of that with 3 points.
Alan Pardew enjoyed his playing days at Crystal Palace and he had good reason to enjoy this November evening. Nicky Forster and Tony Rougier were back in the starting lineup. And it was Forster's pace which carried him through for the only goal. While Forster was tormenting defenders, Reading's challenge for the playoffs was based on a tight defence. Hahnemann remained unbeaten for a fifth successive match. Brighton rose from Division 2 ahead of Reading, but Steve Coppell was now struggling to avoid an immediate return. For Reading, Matthew Upson was again making telling tackles. At the other end, John Solako beat Michel Kuipers for the decisive goal. 3 satisfying points, another clean sheet.
I think we've got a lot of players that, you know, sort of 26, 27, 28, and they're hungry to have a big success. And you know, just got to believe in yourself and reach for the stars and see where you end up. And there's people like Andy Hughes, Nicky Forster, who perhaps just missed out, A.D. Williams, Marcus Hahnemann, who are at that age now when it's now or never. And I just feel this is that division where, you know, you take it by the scruff of the neck and make it give you what you want to give it. And, you know, great pros work very hard. And with a blend of youngsters, Nicky Shorey and people like Darius Henderson and James Harper, you know, we've got a nice little, you know, blend going there. You know, Matthew Upson's coming done tremendously well, so you know I think it's going to be down to the chairman as well to buy at the right time and to improve the squad. But you know, while we're doing what we're doing, you know, everyone's going to enjoy it, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Reading's perfect run through November was reflected in the league positions. They were up to 5th. Watford's defeat at the Medeski and 2 other reverses saw them drop out of the top 6. November's haul of 15 points from 5 matches made Alan Pardew Division 1 Manager of the Month.
23,500, Reading's biggest home crowd of the season, saw the meeting with the league leaders Portsmouth. Unfortunately, the match rarely lived up to its billing. Again, Nicky Forster was the striker who appeared most capable of breaking the deadlock. He posed the Pompey defence plenty of questions, but couldn't send the Medeski rumble crazy. He also created openings for teammates, notably John Solako, who had a couple of sightings of goal. Shaka Hislop survived, and even when he was beaten, the woodwork denied the Royals. It was heading for a scoreless draw. Todorov's miscue and Merson's reaction summed it all up. The match also marked the end of Matthew Upson's loan spell from Arsenal. He started 13 games and Reading only lost 2 of them.
It's been fantastic. It's been like a kind of a springboard, really. You know, I've come here. You know, I've shown a good commitment to the club, which you need to do if you go on loan. I think you know you've got to do it properly, and we've got a fantastic run of results.
A week later, another big contest and another big crowd. Nicky Forster shooting narrowly wide. That was as close as Reading came to a goal against Sheffield United. The Blades had already knocked Leeds and Sunderland out of the League Cup, and it was a high-quality goal which saw Reading's defence breached after a run of 7 clean sheets. John Harley the goal scorer. A rare lapse at the back saw another lone player, Dean Windass, put the outcome beyond doubt.
Okay, I'm looking this way.
That week, Reading signed defender Steve Brown from Charlton. He'd long been admired by Alan Pardew, and after Upson's departure brought more steel to the Royals' defence.
Keep it there.
2 days before the trip to Nottingham Forest, Reading's players took time out to visit a children's ward at the Royal Berkshire Hospital. A real boost for the youngsters who got a rare chance to meet their favourite stars.
Merry Christmas!
But there was to be no Christmas cheer for Reading at the City Ground as Nottingham Forest's David Johnson showed why he was the top scorer in the division at the time. Only a good reaction save from Marcus Hanneman prevented Johnson grabbing a second, but Forest went on to complete their victory, a cool finish from Marlon Harewood. Reading travelled to Highfield Road for what would be their third defeat on the bounce. Defender Steve Brown's debut overshadowed first by a Craig Hignett header and then by an unstoppable strike from Richie Partridge. It was time to take stock and prepare the ground for what was to be a lively encounter against Derby County.
We might still be in the middle of the holiday season, but Alan Pardew feels his side have entered a little too readily into the charitable spirit of things as Marcus Hanneman gets the first clearance underway. After a run of 7 games without conceding, they've lost their last 3 without scoring. Here's Butler. Burley stepped in and Michael Ryan unwittingly presenting possession to Derby. Bertie, unfortunate to get away with that. There's Harper, given away to Burley, who's got a lot of space to run into, might set himself for the shot. Burley! Away by Shorey, as Craig Burley perhaps should have tested Marcus Hanneman a little further. Igo, Barton wins it back for Derby. Strong early pressure from the visitors. Here's Morris's cross. Away by Williams this time. First job of the day for Marcus Hanneman. It's Curitan. His layoff to Igo, who stepped rather easily away from Elliott. Chances left and Nathan Tyson, an acre of space. It's Tyson! It's 1-0. Oh, the 20-year-old gets his first ever goal for Reading. It's only his second ever start, and with 5 minutes on the clock, Sammy Igo has opened up the Derby defence, and that's pinpoint precision from the young winger. Everyone picked up Butler, they forgot about Tyson, and Reading lead. Derby, who conceded an early goal on Boxing Day against Grimsby and never recovered, as Boulders flick on finds Morris, and linesman's flagging. Michael Ryan awards the penalty. Sammy Igo, adjudged to have handled so much the instigator at one end to give Reading the lead. He's inadvertently given Craig Burley the chance to level inside 3 minutes. Craig Burley, who hasn't scored this season. He hasn't scored a league goal in nearly 2 years. The referee has words with any possible encroaching players. The long delay. How will this affect Burley? 1-1. The experienced old head pulls Derby level. A frenetic opening, and Hanneman guessed wrong. Here's Igo, trying to make amends for that penalty award. Ghost pass Warren Barton, chance for the cross, and appeals for handball against Warren Barton. Igo furious and frustrated with himself, you feel, for it was his error at the other end which allowed Derby to get back on level terms so quickly. He has won his side a free kick. Michael Ryan a few early decisions to make. It is outside the box. What can Newman deliver? Reading have packed the penalty area. It's aimed at Curitan. Well, he's just seen his side equalise. Last thing he wants is to concede another one straight away. Here's Igo. Little bit of space, opens up for the shot. Well, it's over a year since his last goal, and over 3 months since he last started for Reading. We'll see why he's anxious to have a go. Elliott got there ahead of Butler. Looked to have used his arms. Nevertheless, it is Igo in possession again. Again spots Nathan Tyson. His cross, Curitan! Just the type of chance we're so used to seeing him convert. Jamie Curitan arriving late at the near post. Got in front of his man. Very unlucky. Elliott once more jumping with Butler. You don't need telling who's in possession again for Reading. It's really freshened things up for Alan Pardew. Sammy Igo, he threads it through for Tyson. He's had one. That might have been two. Derby, of course, a third of 5 Midland teams that Reading meet back to back over this busy period. As Igo looks to craft something again, aimed at Curitan. It'll fall for Newman. Well, Sammy Igo's performance today really has been a joy to behold. He's been at the centre of everything Reading have done. Lovely chipped pass, which Curitan had the sense to knock down. Newman ran round it. A fine effort though. With a little more than 10 minutes remaining, the goal scorer makes way, and John Solarco will have the turn to plough a furrow on the left wing. Murty caught in possession, and it's Malcolm Christie. Spots Boulder, and Watson did well to dispossess him and set Reading moving once more. Here is Solarco, faced by Burley and Barton. Shorey the option inside. His cross, acrobatic attempt from Curitan, retrieved by Igo. Is there to be a winner? It's been end to end. Here's Tugay, a substitute for Derby. Watson put himself about, and it's Igo again leading the chase, trying to exploit these gaps which, in fairness, have been there all afternoon. Here's Solarco. One last chance for Reading, perhaps. His cross. Newman retrieves it. Oh, and lost by Grant, and it's in! Jamie Curitan has plundered the winner for Reading in the last minute. What on earth was the young Derby goalkeeper thinking? As Ricky Newman hooked the ball back in, Lee Grant didn't get off the ground. He seemed to jump with lead in his boots, and he lost the ball in mid-flight, and Curitan doesn't miss those. What an important result it would prove to be if Reading indeed hang on, and they do hang on. They get the result their efforts merited. A wonderful attacking performance to crown a memorable year at the Medeski. And Jamie Curitan, his first goal since August, a fitting match winner in the last minute after poor Lee Grant dropped one of those clangers that give young goalkeepers nightmares. But special praise should go to Sammy Igo, whose industry in midfield was very much the key to Reading getting back to winning ways. Full time in a terrific match. It's finished Reading 2, Derby 1.
It was a great result, a result very desperately needed, and I can't really say much more about it. It's just overwhelming really today.
And it was certainly a gift of a goal, wasn't it, from the keeper's perspective?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm out there to sort of live off mistakes and things like that. I mean, that's my game anyway in the box. So, I mean, I'll take another 10 of them this season. I mean, it's great. I mean, obviously, I thought we worked very hard as a team and deserved maybe to win the game. We had a lot of pressure. It's just the chances, really. So something like that to happen, the boys are, well pleased with it.
So, at the end of a terrific 2002, Reading were lying 6th in the division, winning 13 out of 25 matches since promotion, while Portsmouth and Leicester were already both well on course for the Premiership. A new year and the match that wasn't, as torrential rain eventually put paid to the clash against Leicester, though a full 45 minutes were played before the game was abandoned. Time for reflection inside the new £1 million indoor dome, as the manager juggled the training schedule. But the Royals were to let slip a 2-goal advantage at Hillsborough against the team that would eventually be relegated. Nicky Forster's header and Martin Butler's strike were cancelled out in a disastrous second half. Alan Quinn on target for the Owls. Then Gerald Seaborn let fly with this effort, just 3 days before his move to Dutch side Heerenveen. And the winner, on loan Middlesbrough striker Alan Johnston lobbing Marcus Hahnemann. On a higher note, Alan Pardew finally signed a new 3.5-year contract. The Royals then met Walsall for the third time in 2 weeks, knocked out of the FA Cup over 2 legs, and then another clash here at the Medeski Stadium, this time in the league. An incident-packed game somehow ended 0-0, Nicky Forster hitting the post. In the second period, Jamie Curitan also hit the woodwork. 2 days later, and a boost for the Royals, beating Brighton in the race to sign Arsenal trainee Steve Sidwell.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, it really is a Premiership stadium. You know, and it will be in the Premiership one day. You know, hopefully sooner rather than later. It's again thanks to the chairman and people like that that have made it possible.
Sidwell was to make his debut in the rearranged match against Leicester, though Reading's dominance in the previous washed-out encounter was turned on its head. Paul Dickoff with an acrobatic goal. A.D. Williams was then adjudged to have upended Trevor Benjamin, though replay suggested otherwise. Dickoff dispatching the penalty. There was worse to come. Muzzy Izzet floating in a free kick, the ball eventually finding the head of Matt Heath. A consolation from Andy Hughes wasn't enough to rescue the Royals from their 5th home defeat of the season.
I want a bit more than that, what I've seen tonight, and we've got a lad coming in on his debut. He must have looked around tonight and wondered what he always come to. We're a lot better than that, and a few of them need to show me that in the next game, otherwise they might not be in the starting lineup for the next one.
That call was answered as his players went into February with renewed purpose. Burnley were in the firing line. Steve Sidwell scored his first goal for the Royals. John Solarco made it 2 on the stroke of half-time. A sweet curling finish beyond Marlon Beresford. And Solarco was to get another soon after the break, this time with his left foot. Ian Moore then cashed in on a free kick to pull one back for the home side, which featured a certain Glenn Little. With Burnley's defence tying themselves in knots, Henderson forced his way into the penalty area. He was felled by the keeper. Forster stepped forward. Thankfully, Steve Sidwell followed in, his delight obvious, celebrating with the travelling Royals fans. Henderson went on to complete the rout. And although Burnley's Dean West scored another for the Clarets, it had been a comprehensive victory for Reading and the first of 5 wins on the bounce. Such is the demand for souvenirs and memorabilia, players are often required to sign, well, almost anything relating to the team. Some of these items are donated to charity. Back to the matter in hand, Reading were about to complete the double over Gillingham, and Manchester United's Luke Chadwick made his on-loan debut for the Royals. he'd make an immediate impact. First blood though to Gillingham. Player manager Andy Hessenthaler chipped in a free kick. Rod Wallace avoided the offside trap. But that setback was soon forgotten as the debutant justified his move to the Medeski with the help of a generous deflection. Chadwick an instant hit with the home fans. But with Hessenthaler prompting his team, only Harneman's feet prevented the visitors from restoring their lead. After the break and for the second game running, Henderson was dragged down in the box. This time, Sidwell took the penalty. Saved though by Gills keeper Jason Brown. With the clock ticking, still Reading pressed for the winner. Nathan Tyson centred from the left and Solako was on hand. His third goal in 2 matches. The new Den was to be the stage for one of Reading's goals of the season. From one end of the pitch to the other in just 11 seconds. Harper cleared to Chadwick, Chadwick to Hughes, Hughes to Forster. A thoroughbred goal in every respect. There was still work to be done, and from Kevin Braniff's clever flick, Harneman had to be sharp. But as Reading kept up the pressure, it was Henderson who made sure of the points with a cracking drive. If the gloves were off, then the shirt was coming off too. All aboard for the trip to Bramall Lane. Reading and Sheffield United had the same number of points at this stage, everything to play for. Michael Brown stunned the Royals after just 3 minutes with a thumping free kick. And Marcus Harneman prevented the Blades from going further ahead, a tremendous save from Stuart McCall. The Royals, though, were excellent, and this almost a carbon copy of the break we saw at Millwall. Again, just 11 seconds from start to finish. Forster, the finisher, more horsing around. From a James Harper corner, Hughes was in the thick of it. Paddy Kenny could only parry, and Adi Williams with the finish. To wrap up a sensational victory, another flowing move. Nathan Tyson doing the damage before crossing for Forster to do what comes naturally. At the final whistle, the Royals had good cause to celebrate. Alan Pardew came down from the stands to congratulate his players. He'd completed a 3-match touchline ban for comments he made to the referee after November's match against Watford. Despite already completing his ban, the manager stayed in the stands for much of the game with Rotherham. Superstitious or not, he saw his side complete 5 wins out of 5. 3-0 over Rotherham. And James Harper with a pinpoint finish to set them on their way. There was almost a bizarre own goal. Adi Williams and Graham Murty conspired to put their own goal under pressure. Andy Hughes did his best to upstage Harper, a super strike. And there was more to come. Nicky Shorey the provider, Forster with the finish. 3-0 and a month to remember. Like November, February reaped maximum points. The Royals were third. Norwich won only once in the month to drop back, while Wolves had won 4 of their last 5 league games.
Reading's favourite son, Phil Parkinson, finally decided to hang up his boots and join 2nd Division Colchester United for his first managerial post. As a player and then later with the academy, he'd spent more than a decade with the Royals. The Medeski Stadium was host to a rather important guest. The Irish Prime Minister Bertie Ahern had popped in to see if the home of the Royals and London Irish rugby team could be a blueprint for a new rugby stadium in the Republic. Training ahead of the match against Wimbledon, a philosophical Luke Chadwick gave his thoughts about the standard between the First Division and the Premiership.
I don't think there's that much difference really. As you can see, a lot of the first division teams have been beating Premiership clubs in the cup competitions, and the standard's not that much different. I think the Premiership's maybe a little bit faster in pace, but apart from that, I'd say there's not that much difference in standard really.
It was back to earth with a bump though at Selhurst Park as Wimbledon took the spoils with a predictably physical performance, Damien Francis powering through the Royals' defence. Then late in the second half, Alex Tapp hit low and hard past Harneman. The Canaries had stopped singing by the time Reading had carried out a smash and grab raid at Carrow Road. Nathan Tyson with the cross, Darren Kenton putting the ball past his own keeper. But they all count, and Alan Pardew's joy was plain to see. It was the 7th 1-0 victory of the season. And more praise for the boss, named as a sponsor's manager of the month for his team's unbeaten performance during February. He dedicated the award to all the staff behind the scenes. A frantic match from start to finish, Nathan Tyson coming close in the early stages. Luke Chadwick's loan spell had been extended, though he couldn't extend Reading's victories to 20 for the season. Wolves attacked in a pack, Nathan Blake and Kenny Miller both causing problems. Marcus Harneman doing his best to keep them at bay. Miller's header here pushed over. But the Wolves striker eventually made the breakthrough, courtesy of a fortunate break off the post. Half-time notes were being made by Trevor Francis and Joe Royle, the managers of Reading's next two opponents. Dogged determination from Reading, but Wolves had a grip and didn't let go. Alan Pardew had spent more than 4 years as a player at Crystal Palace, but there was no love lost as his players battered the Palace goal with effort after effort. Hughes frustrated. Then Nicky Forster just wide. The breakthrough came though from a second half free kick. Steve Brown with his first goal for the club. Palace levelled through Andy Johnson. But with seconds remaining, Luke Chadwick crossed for James Harper to send the players, fans and management team into ecstasy. A poor start for the Royals at Portman Road. Martin Reiser's free kick headed in by Thomas Gardso inside the first minute. But Andy Marshall was beaten when Andy Hughes created a chance for Nicky Forster to score his 12th goal of the season. Republic of Ireland international Matt Holland put Ipswich back in front with a fierce drive. There was a further setback in the second period when Adi Vivash was given his marching orders for an off-the-ball incident with Gardso. It proved the turning point, and Ipswich made sure when Jim Magilton struck 20 minutes before time. With victory at Bradford, Reading had won more away games than any other club in the division, 11 at this stage of the season. Forster came close early on, his time would come later. Reading were to suffer their second red card in successive matches. Nathan Tyson was given his marching orders, a second yellow card after tangling with Gus Ullenbeek. Not only did it look harsh, but after watching the video, referee Scott Matheson later rescinded the second card. Then some farcical defending from Bradford allowed Forster to make the most of the chance, and 10-man Reading had the points. Seven matches remaining and all still to play for. The Royals were 6 points clear of the two East Anglian sides with a game in hand, and both Ipswich and Norwich would later miss out on the playoffs.
I have to say that
A new month and time to take stock.
We'd love to get into Premiership, and that's our whole raison d'etre. But the point is, though, that to sort of fly straight through Division 1 and get there would be a dream come true, and that would be absolutely wonderful. And God, we'd take it any time we can.
No trepidation, no fears
None whatsoever.
about joining
None
the big
whatsoever.
league?
No way, no way. We'd go for it.
It was to be one of the most bizarre goals of the season. Marcus Hahnemann picking up a back pass from Graham Murty. A lapse of concentration that was to be equalled by those in front of him. For while his defenders were debating the free kick and deciding how to line up the wall, Bobby Zamora had quickly released Paul Brooker to score. Reading was stirred into action. Glenn Little, on loan from Burnley, saw his header cleared off the line. After the break, substitute Paul Kitson gave the visitors a 2-goal cushion. Jamie Curitan, who hadn't started since January, still had something to prove. But the Seagulls weathered the storm in the last few minutes to take the points.
Good display for us, and obviously delighted to get the hat-trick. I needed a couple of goals. I've had a few chances last week and didn't get a goal, so it's nice to get goals.
Well, he was terrific. We've been terrific all year, to be honest. But although he's going to grab the headlines in the match, it was a real team effort today. I think the team were excellent.
More than 21,000 welcomed Reading into their Good Friday meeting with Nottingham Forest. And it was an excellent contest. Forest had the better of it in the first half. Marcus Hahnemann had to be on his toes as the visitors threatened through Owen Jess and then from Darren Huckabee. Forest even hit the Reading post before half-time. Andy Reid with the shot. Alan Pardew had seen enough and made changes. His substitutions changed the game. Ricky Newman was already on for John Mackey, and Darius Henderson emerged to replace Glenn Little. The changes paid dividends. Newman had an effort saved by Darren Ward. At the other end, Adi Williams kept his own keeper busy. But the Royals had the upper hand in the second half, and this header from Andy Hughes settled it. It was his 8th goal of the season, and it came at an ideal time. Michael Dawson tried his luck from long range, but Reading had 3 valuable points against fellow promotion contenders. Well worth celebrating, and Hughesy knows how to celebrate. Harry Redknapp's Portsmouth had set the standard throughout the First Division campaign. Vincent Pericard, who'd spent the season on loan from Juventus, made it a decent Easter Monday for the Fratton crowd. Unfortunately, the Royals never got anywhere near their best. Pericard beat Hahnemann again just before half-time. Svetoslav Todorov was allowed to run before making it 3-0 to put Pompey back en route to the Championship.
We hold our hands up. That's the best team, without a shadow of a doubt. They deserve to win the title, and I'm pleased for Harry and this club. Fantastic club and fans. but we're closer than that, and it's a shame we didn't put that show on today.
The Royals management never missed an opportunity to share their success with the people who matter most, the supporters. The Easter holidays proved the ideal time for manager Alan Pardew to stage an open training session at the stadium. And hundreds of young fans made the most of the opportunity to take a look at the Royals at work.
They've been here throughout the season and they've been supporting us, so to show their appreciation and for us to do a little bit for them and sign some shirts and some books and things is not much to offer, to give back.
The fans have been really good for us, but we've overachieved. I think we've done really, really well. We've exceeded all our expectations, and if we don't make it to the playoffs, heaven forbid, it'll be a catastrophe as far as I'm concerned.
You only have to come to the stadium week in, week out, and you realise that the support we've got is phenomenal. And it's good for the fans today just to have a little insight of what we do week in, week out.
Management open the doors and let them in, and they've been getting stuff signed. I've been here 45 minutes and my hand is aching, and I'm going to say I'm not smiling so much for photos as I have done today. But it's been good. It's good to give something back.
The supporters even had an opportunity to take a look behind the scenes as the Royals made one final push towards the playoffs. The final home game of the regular season drew another 20,000 plus crowd to the Medeski Stadium, lifting Reading's home average gate above 16,000, a new record. The previous best had stood for more than 50 years. This had been the best supported season in Reading's history. Before the kick-off, the chairman saluted those supporters. And the current Royals team were welcomed onto the park by the record-breaking Royals, who won the Division 3 championship in the 1985-86 season. The current team needed 1 point to set the seal on an outstanding season and clinch their place in the playoffs. It didn't take long to settle nerves. Nicky Shorey's centre converted by Glenn Little for the opening goal. With the playoffs looming, there were scares as Nicky Forster took several heavy knocks and A.D. Williams limped off with a thigh muscle injury. Midway through the half, the Royals made their superiority tell. Harper, the player of the season, spread the play to Chadwick. His centre finished by Andy Hughes. Regulars had seen some outstanding talent throughout this season, and there was more at half-time as Mr. Wu, who was a big hit at the World Cup in South Korea, demonstrated why they call him the world's greatest football entertainer. He has a world record for the head bounce. And more than one touch after the break drew cries of woo. Relegated Grimsby made it a nervous finale for the Royals as Michael Keane pulled 1 goal back. But the Royals survived. They were secure in the playoffs. At the final whistle, they saluted the supporters, who in turn hailed their team.
We're coming to now the final part of the season, and we've got a major goal in front of us. It's a fantastic feeling. We've had it the last couple of years, so we know what it's about, and we're going to give it a good go.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was beyond our wildest dreams at the start of the season, really. We wanted to consolidate, get in this league, find out what it's all about, and really, just get a foothold. But, we've had a fantastic season. We've had players that have grown and have adapted to this league very quickly, and we've shown that we perhaps go another step further. And with a little bit of luck, we could find ourselves in the playoff finals and dreaming of the Premiership.
Yeah, well, anybody's choice who goes up, but I think we'll do it. I think we've got great belief with underdogs, and that always helps us, and we'll give it a good crack.
The Royals still had 2 fixtures to play. Alan Pardew made 7 changes for the match at Watford. Darius Henderson did well before Tony Rougier headed the opening goal. It was an opportunity for some to stake their claim for a place in the playoffs. Jamie Curiton provided a perfect centre for Henderson to convert the second. Then a moment of Royals history as Nathan Tyson was replaced by Peter Castle. At 16 years, 49 days, the schoolboy became the youngest player in Royals history. Darren Campbell, aged 17, also made his first team bow. Jamie Curitan rounded off a satisfying trip to Vicarage Road with another superb finish. And the victory secured Reading a home tie in the second leg of their playoff semi-final.
It's absolutely massive. We've been in the playoffs before. The second leg at home is such a psychological advantage. Our stadium is going to be full capacity and it will be rocking. So whoever plays us is going to have a tough game that night. And knowing that's the second game makes it even better for us.
The final game of the regular season took the Royals to Stoke. The Potters needed something from the match to be sure of avoiding relegation. It came 10 minutes into the second half in the shape of Adi Akinbayi, the striker on loan from Crystal Palace. With the playoffs already looming, the fixture didn't mean much to Reading's season. Steve Sidwell did give the home crowd an anxious moment as his effort clipped the crossbar. At the final whistle, the Britannia Stadium celebrated survival. Brighton, promoted alongside the Royals the previous year, had been relegated on the final day of the season. So Reading finished the season in 4th place, an outstanding achievement after winning promotion the season before. 25 victories contributed towards a tally of 79 points. That equalled the points total won by the 1995 team, which reached the playoff final. Portsmouth and Leicester were promoted. Reading would face Wolves in their playoff semi-final. Sheffield United met Nottingham Forest in the other.
So Reading was gripped by playoff fever for the third time in recent years. Supporters flocked to the stadium to snap up priceless tickets for the first leg at Molineux and the return at the Medeski. It was no surprise that the ticket office was under siege from fans of all ages. But the players knew they'd face a tough challenge from a Wolves side desperate for success.
They're a very, very passionate set of supporters, Wolves, and excellent side, big club. Tradition, history, they've got the lot, and it'll be up to us to quiet them down a little bit, and who knows, if we go up there and play anywhere near the way we played beginning of the season, then we've got every chance.
More than 4,500 Royals fans made the trip to Molineux. Throughout the season, Reading's travelling support had been outstanding, and they were keen to make it one more blue and white away day. Manager Alan Pardew had selected Darius Henderson to start at Wolves. The young striker would play wide on the left to nullify any threat from Dennis Irwin. The Royals' game plan would work superbly for more than an hour. Ross Dyer was our match commentator.
Reading have had the pressure removed from them in this 4-team shootout, which is evident straight away given the directness shown by Andy Hughes right from the kick-off. And Paul Ince collided with Darius Henderson. All the emphasis on Dave Jones and Wolves today after their failure automatically and then through the playoffs to gain promotion last season. Here is Nathan Blake. Andy Hughes tracking him. He has Mark Kennedy in support if he wishes to use him. Here is Kennedy. Wolves Irish international. Hughes being stubborn though. Prevents the cross, it is a corner for Wolves. Andy Hughes was Reading's scorer in the 1-0 win here back in September. Kenny Miller and Paul Butler, serious targets for Mark Kennedy's corner. And it finds the head of Paul Ince. Paul Ince has only ever scored for Wolves on this ground. He's got 3. It's belief really that's been the primary teaching from Alan Pardew to his team. They have so far succeeded all expectations this season. Successive promotions would really be something quite special. Here's Shorey. An advanced position for Reading. He is around the back. Cross missed by everyone. Forster! Advantage Reading at Molineux. It is the perfect breakthrough. Nicky Shorey completely cut Wolves apart, and Nicky Forster, the man on the end of it. Paul Butler's indecision really betrayed his goalkeeper at the near post. But what a lovely first touch from Forster, and what a fabulous finish. A reaction to savour from Alan Pardew. Well, it would have been the perfect Reading plan ahead of coming here to go 1 goal up in the first half. But to be fair, they've taken the game to Wolves as much as anything. But here's Kenny Miller taking it off the toe of Nathan Blake. He found Marcus Hahnemann in the way. It was a decent looking ball from Kennedy to cut it back to the edge of the area. Here is Kennedy. Been far and away Wolves' most influential player in this first half. Drifted over to this right flank, and he's been allowed to do so. Pulls it back for Nathan Blake. Williams went to ground, and in the end it came off Graham Murty. Or did it? Alan Kay says goal kick. Well, Reading haven't read Wolves' promotion script. Alan Pardew's side are holding firm comfortably at the moment. And lovely first time touch from Blake, helps it on to Kennedy. Lee Naylor in support. Harper and Chadwick. He falls Harper but not Chadwick. And Reading get it away. Nicky Forster looking to make things difficult for Lescott, and he has made things difficult. The goal scorer's away. Andy Hughes steaming up in support. And what a fabulous recovery from Jolien Lescott. Perfectly timed intervention from Wolves centre-half, which arrived during the split second. Forster spotted Andy Hughes free inside the box. It was a golden chance. Naylor. The whistles you hear are from the 4,500 travelling Reading fans. They want this half to come to an end. Kenny Miller, a long way back for him. Can he help Wolves construct something? Ince. Well, they've run out of time in this half. Nicky Forster has announced Reading's playoff ambitions with candour. Such was his sharpness on 25 minutes inside Wolves' penalty area after Matt Murray was undone at his near post. And prior to that, Nicky Shorey had embarrassed Georgian Dar to provide his striker with the perfect pullback. And at half-time in the first leg, they are good value for their playoff lead. It is intriguingly poised at Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Reading 1. It was an energetic first half performance from Alan Pardew's team that's done much to get in and around and underneath Wolves' skin on their own patch. And it's given them a pretty decent platform. But much to be wary of, especially when the ball's at the feet of Mark Kennedy. Dave Jones not many changes at half-time. Neither has Alan Pardew. Ince battling again. Andy Hughes wins it back for Reading. Shorey. Again, Wolves happy to invite him onto them. Into the feet of Forster, who manages to spin away from Butler! And it was Luke Chadwick at the far post. He was about half a yard away from connecting with Forster's centre. Reading really have had the better chances. And they might feel a little aggrieved that they haven't taken a 2-goal lead. Cameron was fouled by Sidwell. What a chance this was. Forster got away from Lescott very easily, and Butler. And it was the young midfielder who just didn't anticipate in time. Lee Naylor takes the opportunity to pump it forward. Hahnemann comes a long way and doesn't claim it. It's held back to Miller. who thrashes wide. Let off. Harneman's renowned safe hands. A little suspect there. Forster just putting the pressure on Murray, ensuring that Reading keep their shape. Blake's flick on. Williams missed his header. Comes kindly for it, and fantastic save from Harneman. George Ndar thought it equalised. May even have taken a deflection off Nicky Shorey, which wouldn't have helped Harneman at all. Is it going to be one of those days? Chadwick. Naylor should tidy up. Forster barged him off the field. And Nicky Forster has actually gone down injured on that collision. Seemed to catch his right boot. And Reading's goal scorer makes his last contribution. And it's young Nathan Tyson who comes on to replace him. Reading forced into the change. Tyson, who usually operates as a wide-sided left player. How will Alan Pardew's team adapt to that change? Cameron to Kennedy. Harper can't live with him. And now Kennedy taking on Murty. The pullback was aimed at Blake. Here's Miller. Strong challenge from Williams. Didn't give Miller a chance to settle on the ball. Wolves now asking more of the questions. Irwin. Imaginative use of the chest by Blake, and Miller! Turned away again by Harneman. It's not over for Reading. Comes now for Kennedy. Wouldn't sit. Miller again. Williams again charges it down, and that came off James Harper. The attacking options not working for Dave Jones. George Ndar is withdrawn, and it's Sean Newton who comes on to take his place. Harper is the only player forward for Reading. Lescott again immaculate with his challenge, and here is Newton. Miller. Reading endeavouring to stay close to Wolves. Irwin forced to go long once more. Well, that came off Sidwell's head. Reading don't have it clear. Ince goes down. Is that a penalty? Play on, says the referee, and 1-1. It's a substitute. Sean Newton, who kept his head when everyone else stopped. And Molineux have their equaliser. It started really from Irwin's hopeful ball. There was confusion as it ricocheted off a couple of Reading players. It was Brown's challenge, and as everyone got up to protest the merits of that tackle and whether Wolves should have been in line for a penalty, Newton just blasted it goalward, and it, I think, took a deflection off one, if not two, Reading defenders. Off Shorey and off Murty. But the important thing as far as Reading and Wolves are concerned is that Dave Jones' side have their goal. It's a different story now for Reading. But can they hit Wolves on the break? Harper conducting matters for them now. Henderson. Oh, it came off the woodwork. It's a bit of a fright for Matt Murray, and a relief that Henderson's cross-come shot hit the post as opposed to finding the corner of rigging inside his net. Deceived him with a little flick off Butler. And Nicky Forster, Reading's goal scorer, can only watch on. Murty. Sidwell. It's now Wolves who have their tails up. Naylor spotted that one a mile off. Chance for Miller to turn! Harneman again is Reading's hero. Well, what would they have done without him today? That's 3 flying stops twice denying Miller. Cameron. Can Wolves pot a way through? Here's Ince. Goes down again. And again it was Steve Brown's challenge. Well, I think he can say he missed the ball by about a foot. Dangerous position. Will it be Kennedy? Will it be Ince himself? Lee Naylor also standing over the ball. It's Naylor's run up! It's Naylor's goal! It's cruel on Reading, but Wolverhampton Wanderers have spun the tie around. 2 goals in 10 minutes. Reverse the complexion of this tie. And it's the fullback Lee Naylor. What will frustrate Alan Pardew more perhaps than the goal is the fact that a couple of the Reading players on the fringes of the wall rather unsighted each other. It did go cleanly through. Reading have worked so hard throughout the afternoon, and Tyson goes hurtling into Paul Butler and's been called over by the referee. Speed of the challenge didn't help Tyson, and it's a straight red for the substitute. Young Nathan Tyson receives some calming words. The deflation and disappointment of the day really complete after it started so promisingly for Reading. Paul Butler's evening is also over. So it's looking like a 1-goal disadvantage to take to the Medeski. Not that that's horrific for Reading by any means. Said, well, Ince is grounded again. But Alan Kay brings about the close-in play. They'll be on a mission on Wednesday night. Reading seem for a long time to have got the Molineux plan spot on, but a couple of late goals give Wolverhampton Wanderers a slender half-time lead in the playoff semi-finals. They've beaten Reading here 2-1.
This is only half-time, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you know, the game is a bit unfortunate how it's fallen for us today. We took the lead and perhaps could have had a second and the game might have been over, but you know, you had to be here to understand the pressure we was under. We had such character today. I'm really proud of the players, and before the game someone said to me you'd lose by the odd goal, would you take that? And I probably would have. I think at our place it's going to be very, very different, and we're looking forward to it.
They didn't leave anything undone out there, did they? I mean, every single player out there scrapped.
Well, as I said, you know, we was a bit unfortunate, I think, with a few decisions, especially the free kicks around our box. It was a bit harsh, some of those, and we defended great today, and we showed some quality at times. I thought we passed the ball better than them today, and as I said, we're looking forward to Wednesday night. This game ain't over yet.
The sun was shining down on Reading as a relaxed team training session ironed out the last few wrinkles in the game plan. Jamie Curitan would start the second leg after Nicky Forster's ankle injury had led to a reshuffle.
The Madstad is rocking to the sound of a sellout. 24,000 fans have brought this arena to life, and what an arena. Alan Pardew's known for a day or two he'd have to do without his most valued asset tonight, but as one doorway closes, the scriptwriters will be licking their lips at the inclusion of Jamie Curitan as Nicky Forster's replacement. The man for the big occasion gets his first start since January. Wolves' big injury hangover from the first leg has cleared up. Central defender Paul Butler, who was a recipient of Nathan Tyson's red-carded challenge on Saturday, takes his place alongside the impressive Jolien Lescott at the back. Sean Newton's contribution from the bench, particularly in Wolves' equaliser against the Royals, sees him claim George Ndar's starting place tonight. To even reach this stage for Reading is an unexpected bonus, and as their manager has said, it's been a fantastic accomplishment in their first season back in Division 1. But equally vehemently, his captain Adi Williams stated before kick-off, all of that's irrelevant. When you're at this stage and promotion is so close, you just want to win, especially when the belief is so strong that you can win. Hard to disagree with that kind of sentiment. It's a Wolves throw. Nathan Blake, one of 5 in their starting 11 with Premiership experience, but it's Reading in the ascendancy early on. Hughes hooked deep towards the run of Little. Oh, and Murray spills and escapes. Just. A nervous goalkeeper just got a little more anxious. Murray exposed and partly at fault in the first leg for Nicky Forster's goal. Had difficulty with a shot he'd usually be expected to gather easily. Glenn Little arriving, made sure of an accurate contact. Didn't get hold of it with too much power, although in hindsight perhaps wishing he had. Murty finally credited with Wolves' equaliser in that first leg. The ball took a couple of deflections en route after Sean Newton had powered it past Marcus Hahnemann. Sidwell fairly advanced, and Curitin! Just for a moment, Reading fans thought he'd sized up one of those delightful looping volleys that Jamie Curitin's almost made his trademark over the years. Met it fully and energetically, but he's annoyed with himself. He didn't control the strike. Nathan Blake, ball hit him on the shoulder as he ran through. He's the most advanced Wolves player, though. They look happy to come here and protect what they have. A 1-goal advantage from that first leg at Molineux. Dennis Irwin, formerly of Manchester United, of course, looking forward for Cameron. Easy for Hahnemann. It's a 3-game route to the Premiership with an estimated £10 million prize, but Dave Jones has spent over £10 million of Sir Jack Hayward's money in transfers trying to get there. They cannot afford to blow this chance again, especially with the way the game is poised. But here's Jamie Curitin for Reading, carrying the threat. He's actually playing in the hole behind a lone striker of Andy Hughes this evening. One or two others may have thought that Curitin would be the furthest forward striker for Reading. Well won by Brown, but it's come straight back at Reading. Here's Blake, couldn't make anything of it. Kennedy retains possession. Miller, Cameron, back to Kenny Miller, and in for Blake to chase, and he tried to square it for Newton, and that could have gone anywhere off the boot of Stephen Sidwell. Important that he made a connection with Blake's cross, and fortunate that it flew over the crossbar. Little got something on it, gives Hughes a reason to chase it, and it came off Lescott. It is a Reading corner. Andy Hughes, who's kicked the ball in every division bar the Premiership. Julian Lescott, Wolves Player of the Year. He's only 20, had an outstanding season at the heart of their defence. Shorey, near post routine, Henderson reached it, and stopped somehow by Matt Murray, hacked away by Naylor. Well, the youngster Darius Henderson reacted to Williams' flick at the near post and forced his way in between the Wolves' defence. But when he got there, fabulous stop from Matt Murray. Well, Alan Pardew promised Dave Jones a different type of game here to the first leg. What hasn't changed, though, is Reading's philosophy of trying to win both games. They weren't shy of attacking at Molineux, and tonight the onus is obviously on them. But here's Colin Cameron for Wolves, and a wonderful challenge came in from Reading's captain A.D. Williams. Well, with Henderson's header, Reading was so close to ecstasy at one end, but it nearly became a nightmare scenario at the other. The waves parted momentarily as Cameron made one of his intelligent forays into Reading territory, but A.D. Williams was where you'd hope to find your captain in an emergency. It's been Reading's half, but they're still effectively no further forward. Matt Murray kept the home side out with saves from Little and later Henderson. So half-time arrives balancing a knife-edge scoreline of Reading 0, Wolves 0. 3/4 of the tie has passed, and Reading have but 45 minutes to alter its course. As things stand, Wolves' weathering of the Medeski Stadium crowd has been somewhat resolute. It is Wolves who are more than halfway to Cardiff, but things would change considerably with just one goal from the home side. If Reading could score, then what a tie, what a scene we'd have here. No changes at half-time from either camp. Dave Jones reluctant to alter a winning formula. Ince goes to ground and wins it back for Wolves. Cameron. Those two players really in there just to break things up for the visitors tonight. Here he is again, the Scotsman, Colin Cameron. And Ince. Wolves captain would love another shot at the big time. Fancied a shot there against Marcus Hahnemann. Wasn't able to test him though. He's been a leader for this Wolves side. The former Manchester United man has brought all of those winning qualities to Molineux. They're less than one half of football away from another big trophy piece final. And the prize is considerably more than that. Place in the Premiership. Here's Andy Hughes. Settled back into a midfield role after starting the game up front, but here is Henderson! Matt Murray uncertain in the first half, pulls off what is surely his biggest save of the season so far. Chances when you're chasing games like these tend to double or treble in significance. But two of Reading's best have come the way of Darius Henderson. He's been foiled twice by excellent goalkeeping. Shorey once more with the corner kick. Defended well again by Paul Butler. They have resisted firmly anything that Reading have been able to put into the box, and it's starting to show on the face of these fans. There was a push there, which Howard Webb has called in Reading's favour. Little trying to get on with it quickly. Is there a hole in this Wolves defence? Little trying to find one! And was denied by an exceptional challenge. Well, Glenn Little, 1 goal in 7 starts since seeking out the challenge of promotion on loan with Reading from Burnley. They just need to keep the momentum going. Watson now finds Murty. Back to James Harper. More advanced now, Harper. And the free man is Tony Rougier! That's a waste. Decided to strike it right-footed when the ball seemed to sit up kindly for his left. It was a toe poke in the end. Well, 8 years ago tonight came one of Reading's best ever performances in the playoff semi-finals. They need something to spark just a goal here tonight. That would take it into extra time. Murty. Ray, who's just come on, was too eager to get involved and presented Reading with a decent opportunity from the set play. Shorey and Harper presiding. Shorey left it for Harper, and Curitan just unable to steer it under the bar. By far the shortest of Reading's scrum of bodies, anticipating Shorey's delivery. And he managed to get to it. Unfortunately for his team, he couldn't get over it. And Reading this season famed for scoring late goals. The time in which they've got to do it, though, is fast becoming short. Cameron. Ray took it well. Brown doesn't manage to challenge. Ray will shoot! And in doing so, finds the net! And Wolves are now heading for Cardiff. So cruel on Reading. The whole of the Medeski's in shock. But not having made the impact on Wolves at one end, they were always vulnerable to the counter-attack, and that's exactly what Wolves have sprung on them here. And it's the veteran substitute Alex Ray. Brown didn't make a tackle, and in the end Ray's shot went through the legs of A.D. Williams. It's Alex Ray's first goal of 2003. It has an even more momentous significance for his side. And wily old Alex Ray has surely broken Reading's hearts and sent his team surely onto the playoff final. Newton is offside. The flag is up to spare Reading any more heartache. Will be with some difficulty Reading take the positives away from this season tonight. So hard to put it all into perspective when the emotions swamp you. The 19 years since they've played at the top flight, their fans have been forced to be patient. Reading's gallant efforts have done the town proud, and over the course of the season Alan Pardew and his team shown not only that Premiership football could be within their reach, but perhaps now they should advance the plan a season or two for the fact it should be within their reach. So great have been their achievements this season, beyond any Reading fans' wildest expectations. But it is Wolves who will go away from the Medeski and contest this season's playoff final for a place in the Premiership. It's Wolves' night at the Medeski, in the face of a massive task to withstand the constant pressure from the Royals. Dave Jones' plan worked to perfection. Alex Ray's late goal effectively banished the Butterflies, but Reading bow out with heads and the pride of their fans held high. It's Wolves in the playoff final.
Well, you know, we're really disappointed in there. You know, we feel we're a better team, and over the 2 games for long periods we've dominated, and it's just not fallen for us. You know, we had 3 or 4 good chances today, and they didn't manage to go in. The goalie played well for them, and it's not our night.
I saw you out on the pitch. You stood there for quite a long time, just looking down at those Wolves guys. They were enjoying
do you know what I mean? It's horrible. It's horrible. You look down over there, and all their fans are singing, and their, photographs are going off, and their players, and it's horrible. You know, the season we've worked so hard, ups and downs, and then just all of a sudden I felt like a lonely man out there on the pitch. There was no one near me. I felt like I just wanted my mum and dad, give me a little cuddle. But yeah, that's the way it goes.
I think what we've got to do is lick our wounds and start rekindling ourselves for Division 1 football next season, and hopefully build on what we already have, and hopefully go straight through and be at the top of the division like Portsmouth were this season, and just go straight through without this awesome business of playoffs, which I absolutely detest.
You know, the boys were outstanding tonight. They showed everything: commitment, passion, effort, you name it. You know, ability. It was all out there tonight, and they can look anybody in the eye tomorrow morning and say what a good job they've done.
We have had a fantastic season. You can't get away from that, and I think I think fans up and down the country would have enjoyed us. You know, we've played the game the right way. We've won the Fair Play League. We've passed the ball really well, and it ain't through lack of commitment. We've done that. We've had to dog out a few results. No, I'm very proud of my team, and it's been easy to manage them. They've been a great set of lads, and the fans are with us, and that's important.
Nathan Tyson, an acre of space. It's Tyson. It's 1-0. Cross-miss by everyone. Forster. Advantage Reading at Molineux.
We have had a fantastic season. You can't get away from that.